It was a Wednesday night, October 2nd, 2024. I had just locked up the Dollar General where I work as a manager. I was ready to start my usual closing tasks when my phone rang. It was my little brother, Jake. Jake is 17 and recently got into exploring abandoned places and climbing radio towers. It fills me with anxiety, but he's usually smart about it. This time, though, he needed help. He told me his car wouldn't start. The battery was dead, and he was alone in the middle of nowhere. He was supposed to be at a friend's house, not a whole county away. I was pissed about his carelessness, but decided to spare the lecture until I was with him. I told him to send me his location and that I'd be there soon. I finished closing up around 10:30 and started speeding along the route the GPS took me. I never speed, but the thought of Jake out there alone didn't sit right with me. It took me about 40 minutes to get there. I started on a busy highway, then turned onto a remote one. Nothing but trees, fields, and the occasional tiny church. Eventually, I turned onto a narrow dirt road. It was bumpy and unkempt, the tree line so thick with darkness. The whole vibe made me uneasy. I just had a bad feeling. I took a sharp turn and saw Jake's car a couple hundred feet ahead. As soon as my headlights hit it, he threw himself out of the car, hysterical. Jake was sprinting towards my car, screaming for me to unlock the doors. I stopped, and he jumped in, locking the door back before I could even process his distress. He was shouting for me to get us out of there, saying there was someone else. I'm an act first, ask questions later kind of person, so I turned us around and floored it. I'd never seen him so panicked, sobbing, having a full-blown panic attack. By the time we hit the main highway, he'd calmed down enough to talk. I asked him what happened, why he didn't call me sooner. He was too panicked to think about it, he said. He told me that 20 to 25 minutes after he called me, he saw the figure of a man in the road ahead. At first, he thought it might be a landowner, but the figure just stood there, staring. Jake said the person stood there, unmoving, for a few minutes before slowly shifting into the trees. That's when the panic set in. The figure reappeared, closer this time. Jake was frozen in terror, watching as the figure stood in the road before vanishing again. This happened 2 more times, each time the figure got closer. Jake was petrified, unable to move until he saw my headlights. The security of knowing I was there gave him the courage to leap out of the car and make a break for it. He was so scared, he left his phone behind. The next day, we returned to jump the car. I brought a weapon, just in case. The area felt less threatening in the daylight. The abandoned house was visible through the trees. To the right, a small road led to a radio tower. We poked around, looking for clues. There were no signs of a barn or farm, just fields. I checked the house, thinking maybe a squatter had scared him, but found nothing. What unnerved me most was the ground behind the house. It was littered with bones, cow vertebrae, hundreds of them. But there were no cows nearby. I went back to the road, looking for footprints where the figure stood. The dirt was dusty, but there was nothing. It was as if no one had been there. We jumped the car, and I gave Jake a lecture about exploring alone. He promised he wouldn't do it again, but I could see the fear still in his eyes. As we drove away, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching us. I glanced back at the house, but it was just an empty shell in the daylight. Even now, I wonder if it was just Jake's imagination or something more sinister. But one thing's for sure, we won't be going back there anytime soon.